Today we will see audit trials and objectives of audit trials. See, we know that information systems auditing called IS audit is a method of attesting the objectives of the organization. Those elements may be internal or external components, maybe internal or external components. They always try to acquire 4 information system objectives. Number 1 is safeguarding of organizational assets, maintenance of data integrity, improving system effectiveness, improving system efficiency objectives, improving system effectiveness and efficiency objectives. If we have a proper control, every organization achieves these objectives. Controls and audit of information leads to achieving these objectives. If you are not applying any kind of control mechanism, then organization is vulnerable to attacker in the terms of loss of privacy, loss of integrity, unauthorized modifications are allowed, abusing of computer system, loss of hardware, software and other related components, incorrect decision making, and we are not having a proper control and operations of the system environment. And then we go for concurrent audit. Concurrent audit is also called as a continuous audit. Concurrent audit is also called a continuous audit, where each and every action is going to be observed. All the transactions are going to be verified in order to produce a proper audit information, in order to achieve objectives of the organizational environment. That is, we have 5 categories of concurrent audit. Concurrent audit is an audit mechanism that exists, that ensures occurrence of a transaction and providing assurance to the transactional activity on time or real time is said to be concurrent audit or a continuous audit. Basically, we have 5 categories of concurrent audits or a continuous audit. Number 1 is snapshot mechanism, also called as extended records, where the material processing occurs. We are going to verify accuracy, authenticity, validity. Integrated test facility, it is normally used for the new people or the trainee people, where we are going to give a dummy system or a dummy environment. Everything is going to be updated on the dummy system. If it produces a correct result, then we are going to apply those elements onto the real system. Next one is Systems Control Audit Review File, SCARF. It is embedded audit software system that collects each and every transactional activity, and it is going to be written onto a special file, what you call SCARF master file. CIS, Continuous and Intermittent Simulation, it is nothing but updated version, or it is a variation of SCARF. It is going to trap the exceptions that the system uses database management system. In order to handle audit hooks, audit hooks are nothing but we are providing trapping, flagging suspicious transactions. Flagging of suspicious transactions is said to be a model, what you call, that is audit hooks. Now move on to question number 5, question number 4 and 5. Let us start with question number 4. What are the advantages of concurrent audit techniques or concurrent audit tools? What are the advantages of concurrent audit tools? So before going to the advantages, let me see concurrent audit. Here, a concurrent audit is a type of auditing mechanism where each and every transaction is going to be verified. All the transactions are going to be verified on time or real time, or whenever the transaction occurs, whenever transaction executes. So there is no gap in between occurrence of a transaction and recording of a transaction. Occurrence of a transaction and recording of a transaction, there is no time gap. We are providing immediate assurance to those activities. Such a system is said to be concurrent audit tools. All the transactional elements are going to be verified, validated, authenticated on time or real time without any time gap between occurrence and providing assurance. Advantages can be divided into 4 parts. Number 1 is detailed auditing. Detailed audit, we can say that D is a cheat code. Without having human effort, each and every transaction is executed by a machine. Without system operators' help, we are going to collect the evidence from the system. Without need for a system user or system operator, we are collecting evidence that is said to be detailed audit. Next one is DS, yes for surprise audit. See, in the case of integrated test facility or any other audit tools are concerned, it may be snapshots, ITF, SCA or EF or anything is concerned, they always provide you advantageous for surprise visit, because we are collecting the data without awareness, without the help of any kind of system operator. It always reduces the time and effort. Second component is surprise audit. Surprise auditing will be provided. Training will be provided, and then I, information in order to achieve objectives. Information is provided to achieve the objectives. T is nothing but training will be provided. Even training users or trained users are going to use integrated test facility in order to work. Cheat code is DIST. Better district. DIST. Better you can write DIST. Order is not the important criteria here. Cheat code is DIST. DIST. Detailed audit, surprise audit. It provides information to the staff in achieving objectives. and providing training to the new users. Training to the new users. How these elements are provided. Question number 4, important question. Discuss the advantages of continuous audit techniques. Discuss the advantages of continuous audit techniques. For your easiness or convenience, it is a detailed auditing. What is that? Detailed auditing. We can say that timely, on time, complete, comprehensive, and detailed auditing. That is, evidence would be available more timely and complete manner. Timeliness is very important. Accuracy is very important. The entire processing can be evaluated and analyzed rather than examining the inputs and outputs only. Rather than we are going to observe input and outputs, we are going to evaluate each and every component in the case of concurrent audit techniques. Concurrent audit techniques or continuous audit techniques are the techniques that are used for evaluating all the transactions. That is in a timely, comprehensive manner, complete manner. Detailed auditing. Next one is information to system staff on meeting objectives. That is, information is provided to system staff in order to achieve the objectives. What are the objectives? Objectives may be safeguarding of organizational assets, maintaining data integrity, improving system effectiveness, improving system efficiency objectives. Concurrent audit techniques provides information to the system staff regarding test vehicles to be used in evaluating whether an application system meets objectives of asset safeguarding, data integrity, effectiveness, and efficiency. We have 4 objectives. The question number 1 itself is the objectives of IS audit. Next one is surprise test capability. An evidence is collected from the system itself by using concurrent audit techniques. Auditors can gather evidence without the system staff and application system users being aware of that evidence is being collected at that particular moment. It brings a surprise test advantage. Without awareness of all existing employees, we are going to collect the data. Such a technique is come under surprise. That is called surprise test capability. Training for end users, we know that ITF. In the case of integrated test facility, we are creating a dummy entity. Initially, we are going to apply some set of operations on dummy entity. If the test report is good, then only we proceed to the original component. So, using integrated test facility, new user can submit the data to the application system, obtain the feedback on any mistake they make via system's error report. It acts like a training element for new category of users. What are the advantages of continuous or concurrent audit techniques? See, it is always advisable to start with definition or a small technical term first. Try to write a definition. Concurrent audit techniques or continuous audit techniques or auditing techniques that are used for handling of all the transactions without any kind of time gap between occurrence and providing assurance. That's it. There are 4 advantages of concurrent audit techniques. First one is detailed auditing. It provides information to the staff in achieving organizational objectives. Surprise test audit. Next one is training element. Next point is question number 5. Question number 5, important question, very, very important question. What is meant by concurrent audit? Explain different types of concurrent audits, snapshots, integrated test facility. Next component is SCA/RF, CIS, audit hooks. Next category is what are the advantages? DIST, D-I-S-T is a cheat code. District in the first element, D-I-S-T. Next one is audit trials. See, audit trial is also called as, also known as audit logs. Log is nothing but record. Log is nothing but record. In the case of database management system, when the user performs deposit and withdrawal of a money, every system maintains a log. Log is nothing but record. For example, T1 is a transaction. T1 is a transaction. Start, transaction started. It reads the value of account A, read A. Withdrawal of money, A is equal to A minus 1000 rupees. Write A, updated, then commit. Finally stop. Initial value of T1, account A is 10,000 rupees. So here we are going to record a log element. T1 is a transaction, 10,000 is the initial value, 9,000 is after updation by a transaction account A, or you may write T1 A, no problem, that is not the important criteria there. We are going to create a log. T1 is a transaction on account A. Initial value in account is 10,000 rupees. After updation, its value is 9,000 rupees. This is called as a log. This is a record. It chronologically records the activities. Audit trials are also called as audit logs. These are also called as audit logs. These are used for logging or recording activities at user level. User interact with the application, application level, application interact with the database, database level, database exists within the system called a system level. Audit logs, audit trials or logs that are designed to record the activity at system level, database level, application level. User interact with the application, user interacts with the application, application interact with the database, database interact with the system, database interact with the system, system exists within the network. It determines you chronological order recording of activities, recording activity or events at user level. User interact with the application, application level, application exists, application requires data, database level, database exists within the system called a system level. So Audit trials always provides you, if it is properly implemented, it is implemented properly, it always achieves security policy objectives. They always assures you controlling, detection, prevention of unauthorized activities. It always provides you proper detective control mechanism so that we are not going to allow any kind of unauthorized activity to be executed in our system. Once again, audit trail is nothing but recording or logging the activities at the application level, user level or application level, database level, finally system level. Audit trials provides you a properly implemented audit trials provides you perfect detective control. They always assures security policy objective. What is that? Security policy objective. Listen, question number 5, very important question. What is audit trail? Explain the types and objectives of audit trail. Audit trails are nothing but logs. Log is nothing but a record that can be designed to record the activity or events at the user level, application level, database level, system level, network level. Anything is okay. User interact with the application, application interact with the database, database exists in the system, system exists in network. When these are properly implemented, they provide an important detective control mechanism that helps to accomplish security policy objectives. Basically, there are two categories of audit trials. Audit trials can be divided into two categories. Number one is accounts audit trial or accounting audit trials. Second one is operations audit trial or operational audit trial, no problem at all. Accounts audit trial. Second one is operations audit trial. Operations audit trial always concentrates on resource consumption. What kind of resources requested? What resources are allocated? And accounting audit trial always depends upon event handling, that is, what kind of processing activity is going on, where the processing is performed, what input is taken, how the processing activity going on, determined by accounts audit trial. Accounts audit trial always determines what type of inputs, what type of processes that updates the data. Operations audit trial always determines expected or assumed or requested allocated resources, called resource consumption. Audit trial always provides you who access the data, where he access the data, how he access the data, when the data is going to be accessed or resource is accessed. Each and every activity is defined by audit trail. Audit trail provides you chronological record. What is chronological? First in, first out. All activities are executed first in, first out. Audit trials can be divided into two categories: accounting audit trial, operations audit trial. Accounting audit trial shows the source and nature of data and processes that update the database. operations audit trail maintains a record of attempted or actual resources consumed within a system. That's why for easiness, I specified first one is resources related with operations, events that is related with accounting. Next, audit trail objectives. What are the audit trail objectives? We have 3 objectives when you consider audit trails. First one is detecting unauthorized access, personal accountability, reconstruction of event, DPR, detailed project report. The cheat code is DPR. Very important. Detecting unauthorized access, personal accountability, reconstruction of events. See, if everything is recorded, then we can have detecting unauthorized access, maintenance of personal accountability, reconstruction of events. What is detecting unauthorized access? See, detecting unauthorized access can occur in real time, on time, after an event occurs. It may be on time, called online, or even after the fact. The major element of real-time detection is to protect the system from outsiders. We always try to protect the system from outsiders in the terms of unauthorized access or in the terms of hacking, spyware, or any other activity. Our intention is to detect unauthorized access who always try to breach, violate the system controls. So, a detection may occur on time or real time after an event occurs, which may be in the form of detection. We always try to identify the activities which are generated from the outside, who always violate or breaching the controls. What is breaching? Violating. What is breaching? Violating. See, audit trails can be used to support security objectives in three ways. I told you DPR. First one is detecting unauthorized access. Detecting unauthorized access can exist on time whenever an event occurs, or after the fact, after execution. It may be detect and recover. Prevention, it is not going to allow the system. The primary objective of real-time detection is to protect the system from outsiders or unauthorized people who are attempting to breach the system control. What is breaching? Breaching is nothing but violation. Their intention is always try to breach. Real-time audit trail can also be used to report on changes in the system performance that may indicate infatuation by, infection by viruses or worms or any other malwares. We have to reduce the occurrence. For that, what we have to do? First, you need to detect and then correct. If possible, try to correct. At least you need to keep it in an isolated environment called a quarantine. Even you can identify in the case of antivirus also, if a virus can be virus can be detected and then corrected sometimes. Sometimes it may be moved on to the quarantine, so that its impact is not going to be connected with any other operating system environment. Next one is P. P for personal accountability. See, audit trail always records the activities at various levels: user level, application level, database level, system level, network level. Audit trails can be used to monitor the user activity at the lowest level of detail. It serves as a preventive control. Individuals are likely to violate an organization's security policy if know that their actions are not recorded in the audit log. Many people perform some malicious activities and their intention is they are not going to be recorded with the organization log. So, each and every activity, for example, here I am performing some set of activities within the system. So, everything is recorded. If you are browsing internet, everything is recorded. Even you are communicating with your cell phone, everything is recorded. So, here our intention is to record each and every activity at the lowest level of detail, so that if the people who intentionally violates the rules and they felt that these are not recorded, nobody can identify us. Next one is reconstruction of events. Audit analysis can be used to reconstruct the steps that led to the events such as system failure, security violations by individuals, or application processing errors. For example, if I have a problem, so whenever the data is not available, but we can have audit log. See, by seeing this audit log, we can reconstruct the activity and we can detect the problems. For example, consider your father's checkbook. The first page itself contains some tabular format: serial number, date, check number, amount, to whom this check was disbursed. So, and also contains remaining balance in the account. Each and every activity is recorded in this case in a manual operation. He used to write serial number 1, check number 29507 or 29501, United India Health Insurance or Vehicle Insurance, 1900 rupees, date so and so, and then amount after withdrawal, the remaining amount is 15,650. This is known as a record. So that what we can do, we can detect if the amount is not tallied with the written amount, something was happened. So we can detect, sir, this is the record, this is the log where I am maintaining. Each and every record is maintained in a proper order, so that we can detect unauthorized access. And it also provides you personal accountability, because everything is going to be seen in detail. Even though there exists a failure, we are going to reconstruct the events, recovery of events as possible. This is called as what is meant by audit trail. Explain different categories of audit trails. What are different categories of audit trails? Now move on to role of auditor. We know that we have various categories of controls. Already I explained to you in previous sessions. Just I want to list out the control elements. Controls can be divided into 3 groups based on objectives of controls. based on nature of information system resources, based on IS resources, and then based on audit functionalities, based on audit functions. Objectives, nature of information system resources based on audit functions. All these elements, previous concept detailed the information related to controls. What is a control? How controls are going to be implemented. But in this chapter, auditor is going to audit all these controls. That is, based on objectives, we can have preventive, detective, and corrective controls. Preventive controls are the controls which are used for preventing an error, omission, or malicious act occurring. Detective controls are the controls which are used for detecting error, omission, or a fault or a failure, exception that are occurred and report the occurrences. Corrective controls are the controls that are going to handle prevention, that are going to handle error, problem, malicious activity, omission that are reported is going to be corrected. These are elements come under correction. Nature of IS resources. These controls can be divided into environmental controls or environment controls, physical access controls, logical access controls. Physical access controls. Next category is logical access controls. Even auditor need to verify the control elements in the case of environment control, physical access controls, logical access controls. Based on audit functionalities, we can have managerial controls. Second one is application controls. Application controls deals with the data storage, updation, input, processing, whereas managerial controls always deals with how the information system can be built, operated, maintained in an organization. So again, we have different types of managerial controls, different types of application controls, we will see later. Let us start with question number 6, audit of environmental controls. These are based on nature of information system resources. We know that we have 4 categories of controls as far as environment controls are concerned. You know that. That is in the case of previous chapter. Fire damage, water damage, pollution damage, and electrical exposures or power spikes. Explain the role of auditor in auditing environmental controls. What factors are to be considered by auditor in auditing environmental controls? Auditor is responsible for not only handling of technical components, he needs to verify the environmental controls or physical access controls also. So, auditor should satisfy not only the effectiveness of various technical controls, but also he is responsible for overall control, safeguarding the business against the environmental risk. What are environmental risks? Water, pollution, fire, or any other category of errors. It may be tsunamis in the terms of an act of God. Audit of environmental controls. See, there is a common point. Any kind of auditing activity should be executed by only qualified personnel. See, electrical generators or electrical lines must be inspected by a qualified personnel called electrical engineer. Quality of building construction must be verified by a qualified personnel called a civil engineer. So, audit of environmental controls requires information system auditor to conduct the physical inspection and observe the practices. These are not in the terms of environmental controls, or not in the terms of logical. Everything must have a physical inspection, physical observation, physical monitoring, how the activities are going on. Auditing environmental controls requires the knowledge of building, mechanical and electrical systems as well as fire codes. Electrical fire code or normal fire safety or something. Auditing environmental controls requires attention to these factors. Number one is, first one is power conditioning, backup power, HVAC systems, water detection, fire detection and suppression, cleanliness, pollution. In order to reduce the pollution, you need to establish a closed room. Auditor is going to verify, is it all the equipment is available within the organization in a closed room or not. Required air conditioning or study temperature is maintaining within the room. Is there any accumulation of dust? Are going to be verified. First, start with cleanliness, which is related with the pollution. Auditor should examine the computer center or data center or a server room or computing information processing facility. IPF is nothing but information processing facility, to see how clean they are. IT equipment, air filters, and the inside of some IT component should be examined to see if there is accumulation of dust and dirtiness. See, consider a projector. Every projector is associated with air filter. Consider your air conditioning. Air conditioning is associated with some mats or filters. When you use your air conditioner for 1 month, they hold some accumulated dust. So whatever the dust material they have, that must be cleaned. Otherwise, there is a formation of some infections. Information system auditor should examine the data centers to see how clean they are. IT equipment, air filters and inside of the IT component should be examined to see if there is an accumulation of dust and dirtiness. Next one is power conditioning. See, auditor should examine how frequently power conditioning equipment such as UPS. What is UPS? Uninterrupted power supply. Even though there exists a power failure, still it provides online power supply to the computing facility for a predetermined time period. Whereas in the case of generator is concerned, that is of offline power supply. Auditor should determine how frequently power conditioning equipment such as UPS, line conditioner, electrical surge protectors such as MCBs, fuse or motor generators are used, inspected and maintained, and it must be performed by a qualified personnel. That's why they used to maintain a separate register for generator or UPS maintenance, power conditioning or MCBs or anything. Next one is backup power. Whenever there exists a power failure, you need to provide backup power supply. Backup power can be provided in the terms of online or offline. I told you just now. UPS, power generator. Information system auditor should determine if backup power is available via electrical generators or UPS, how frequently they are tested. They should examine the maintenance record to see how frequently these components are maintained, and it is done by a qualified personnel. That is the common point in all the cases. See, as a software engineer or a computer administrator, I am not supposed to see the quality of a UPS and also power generated power. That should be verified, documented, maintained by a qualified personnel called electrical engineer. Network activity, for example, network activity must be managed by network administrator. Database backup, data related activities, database administrator. Income tax related, we require chartered accountant. Like that, here we require electrical engineer. But every information system auditor should have the knowledge regarding building and also mechanical, electrical or any other related subjects. HVAC, heating or humidity, ventilation, air conditioning. I told you every computing infrastructure must be maintained in a standard temperature. It may be 16 degrees or 18 degrees. For example, if you are not using or if you are using equipment for a specific period of time, the air conditioning level is 18 degrees. Once your work is over, its value is 36 degrees. Failure may occur. There exists growing and shrinking because every computer is made up of electrical circuits. When they are in operation, it produces more heat. When they are not in operation, they are shrinking, growing, shrinking. In order to avoid these elements, if you maintain the standard temperature, we can have better durability. Information system auditor should determine if HVAC systems are providing adequate temperature and humidity levels, and they are monitored and maintained it properly. That's why in many organizations we used to have like a timer or a clock. It determines humidity levels, temperature levels, time value. Water detection. Information system auditor should determine if there are any water detectors are used in the room. I told you in the case of water detection. Waterproof. Waterproof. Water damage is the cause of pipe burst or leakage. That's why information system auditor is going to verify is there any required water detectors are placed in exact location where the computing facilities are used, or IPF is used. IPF is nothing but information processing facility. He should determine how frequently these are tested and they are monitored, maintained. Next one is fire detection and suppression. I told you in the case of fire detection, we need to have installation of fire detection alarms or fire detection equipment. Whenever the presence of fire, automatically alarm will be activated. That is communicated to the security personnel or police. And within the room, even outside the room, we used to have a fire suppression equipment such as ceasefire, fire extinguishers, fire exhausters. Information system auditor should determine if fire detection equipment is adequate. If all the staff members are aware of fire detection or fire suppression equipment, if staff members understand their functionalities and they are tested, he should determine how frequently fire suppression systems are inspected and tested. If organizations has emergency evacuation plans and conduct fire drill or mock drill. In the case of fire accident, we are going to perform the activity. It is called as a mock drill or a fire drill. So that every person within the organization knows about this is a fire equipment. It must be used whenever there exists or there is a presence of fire. Immediately I am going to use this equipment. we need to have a fire safety, fire alarms. That's why we are going to keep fire alarms at the bottom or ceiling tiles, bottom level or above the ceiling tiles. It must produce audible alarm that is communicated to police and also fire safety or security department within the organization. Fire suppression system must be kept at significant locations. Is it all the employees are aware of fire suppression equipment, how to use? You need to check for number of levels. Is it required gas is available? How the maintenance operation is continued. Fire suppression equipment must be maintained for at least 6 months in advance. So, they always, fire department is going to check for the number of levels that a gas contains, carbon dioxide. Emergency evacuation procedure must be defined. Emergency evacuation, I told you, in the case of fire accident, you should not use lift, better to use steps. There should be clear marking. Auditor is going to verify, is there any clear cut fire exit is marked or not. Emergency evacuation plans are available or not. Mock drills were conducted or not. Everything is going to be accumulated, collected by information system auditor with the help of corresponding personnel within the organization. So once again, say this. Today we started with the IAS audit. Already in previous sessions, what is meant by IAS auditing? What is the need of IAS audit? And different types of concurrent audit tools. Don't forget about that. Very, very important question. Concurrent audit techniques or continuous audit techniques are the techniques they provide continuous assurance to the transaction that is on real time without any delay. So, whereas previous concepts are concerned, manual operations are concerned, there exists a time gap between occurrence and providing assurance. We have how many categories of audit technique? 5 categories. Number 1, snapshots or extended records, integrated test facility, SCARF, CIS, audit hooks. Later, we started with what are the advantages of concurrent audit techniques. I told you, concurrent audit technique advantages can be divided into DIST. D for detailed audit, timely, comprehensive and detailed audit. Provides information to the staff in achieving objectives of the system, information objectives. Surprise audit, training. There are 4 parts. Next one is what is meant by audit trail, what are various types of audit trails, explain the objectives of audit trail. Audit trail provides a chronological record of activities at the user level. You can say user level, application level, database level, system level. If these audit trails are properly implemented, we can use it as a detective control mechanism for achieving security policy objectives. Audit trail determines who accesses the data, when he accesses the data, where it accesses the data, how it accesses the resource. Data is nothing but a resource. Audit trails can be divided into 2 categories. Number 1 is accounting audit trail. What is that? Accounting audit trail. Second one is operations audit trail. Accounting audit trail always concentrates on set of events, whereas operations audit trail concentrates on resources, resource requesting, resource consumption, resource usage. Whereas input, processing, updations will be provided by accounting. Basically, there are 3 objectives of audit trail. DPR. D stands for detecting unauthorized access. P for personal accountability. P for personal accountability or for reconstruction of events. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Later, from this point onwards, we are going to deal with the audit of controls. That's why I written what is a control. Control is nothing but a policy, procedure, practices, organization structure that allows desirable activities, undesirable events can be PDC, prevented, detected, corrected. That is based on objectives, based on nature of IS resources, based on audit functionalities. We have different controls: preventive, detective, corrective controls. That is based on objectives. Environmental, physical, logical access called nature of IS resources. Based on audit functions, we can have managerial controls and application controls. That's why we started with environmental controls. Not only technical components, we need to concentrate on remaining aspects as well. What are remaining aspects? Here we need to concentrate on logical access controls, physical access controls, even environmental controls. In this case, auditor should have some knowledge regarding mechanical, electrical, electronic, physical or building elements. That's why he always performs auditing activity. In the case of environmental controls, we have power conditioning, backup power, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, water detection, fire detection and suppression, cleanliness. Because in the case of environmental control, we have dealt with 4 objectives: fire damage, water damage, pollution damage, electrical exposures. All those elements are come under control. Auditor is going to verify all those controls are implemented or not. Is it proper implementation of those controls within the information system, within the organization or not is verified by information system auditor. His intention is always try to implement proper control mechanism so that organization operations will be executed without creating any interrupts. So this is the information today we have discussed, we have seen. One is advantages of concurrent audit. Next one is audit trail, types of audit trail, objectives of audit trail. Next one is environmental controls, audit of environment controls. Role of auditor in the case of environment control. So every point is going to be connected with this. All control elements are connected with this part. Tomorrow we will see role of auditor in the case of physical access control, role of auditor in the case of logical access control, point of presence related with the internet. Again, managerial control, top management control, system development management control, programming management control, data resource management control, quality assurance management control, security management control, operation management control, and application control, boundary, input, process, output, database, data communication. And then we go for last topic, that is called as a job profile, job description, functionalities, various kinds of job titles in the case of organization. All categories of job title are going to be discussed in the next classes. Okay, this is the information related to audit trail. Tomorrow we will continue. Thank you.